All right, I'm here with Squirmy. We are in the, what is this, Fantastic Caves, I think it was called? Yes, Fantastic Cavern. It was discovered by a dog. Back in the day, some dog, and as owner, we're traveling around here, the dog went down a hole and couldn't get back out. In order to get him back out, the owner went in and found this cave, so we're gonna go check that out. Over here, amethyst, I think they call that. Anyway, we've seen lots of these, but I have never seen one that big. That is huge, beautiful. So all the children seem to really like stones, different types. And we thought this caves and caverns is always something that we're pretty interested in.
Yeah, this goes like
it's amazing, the different types.
This
Hard to believe that's a natural forming rock. So, beautiful area to park. This looks like a big tourist shop. Check that out when we come back out. And right now we're going to get some tickets to go in. Bit of history here. Missouri has 13 caves open for public tours. Bunch of stuff. I always like everything, all things trackers. That is neat. I wonder if that was specifically built for this.
That is cool.
Very cool. Dualies on it.
That'd be cool if we took this out then.
Maybe it's just a prop, maybe. I don't know if they actually ever used it. Oh, maybe they did. I don't know. Hard to say. A tractor that used to be a school bus. Not sure what that's about either. Very neat. Very neat. One of these rocks. I wonder if this is the other half of the first one, maybe. Oh, these are wild too. Very shiny.
Want me to take your picture?
I appreciate it. Thank you so much, though.
Oh, hey, tall guy.
Yes, sir.
Are you driving? Yeah. You got your passengers? Nice.
Always appreciate everything old, everything antique. Very nice. I believe this would be an apple press. Run your apples through, and then you squish the juices out. There's even an apple in it. Old Jeep. And old stuff. Down here we've got the carts we'll be driving in, pulled by a little Jeep.
Oh yeah, you definitely. I think we would probably be like, hey, it's a long
Wow.
We're not here, but another.
Watch your head.
And if this guy in front of me doesn't hit his head, I'll be alright.
I'm joking, like I'm
Yeah, I'm good.
I'm just joking as low as time.
Yeah, I'm trying to be like the kids, man.
Like compared to the cave we went in before.
So welcome to family. We're going to go past this point because there's no food in the back and they can't see any better than we can back there. So they stay up here in the front where they can find their way out. Now one thing we do have in this cave that you may not see in other caves is actually right here behind me.
Imagine finding this thing. Wow. too. That thing, eh? That's cool.
So the formations in this cave are all made from water. Water comes down through the bedrock, picks up a mineral called calcite along the way, and as it enters the cave, it'll hang there on the ceiling and slowly evaporate, leaving behind that calcite mineral which causes these formations to grow. Now when they first start growing, they start out as these little guys right here, they're called soda straws. They're hollow in the middle until they get to be about 6 to 8 inches long. Then that center clogs up, they start growing on the outside and turn into what we call stalactites, which you can see all throughout the ceiling. Now the one right here above our head is kind of a special stalactite. That one's called a cave curtain or a cave drapery. And instead of dripping straight down, the water kind of runs along that inclined or slanted edge of the ceiling, which leaves a trail of calcite, which over time forms very thin formations. They kind of look like curtains or drapes. You can also see it's still dripping water. There's still calcite left in that water, and we know that because we got something growing up below it.
It's pretty neat in the cave. You like it? It's neat, eh? Can you imagine if they turned all the lights off? You wouldn't be able to see.
It's like tree bark. Yeah.
That's actually a well casing. So back in 1941, the person who lived across the street from the cave built a brand new house that needed a well for water. So they got together with the owner of the cave, and those two guys did some measuring and some math. And between the two of them, they figured out exactly where to drill the well in order to miss the cave. Turns out they weren't very good at measuring or math, because that was supposed to be about 15 foot on the other side of the wall. About 90 feet down, yeah, just nailed it. 90 feet down, that drill bit made a sudden drop. They realized they'd screwed up. Got a little creepy bit. So they came down into the cave to see what kind of damage they had done. And when they found it, they decided it was out of the way and it would just do more damage if they tried to remove it. So they figured they might as well just keep on going. They drilled down another 50 feet, hit water in a wet weather spring below us, and I guess you could say all was well. The problem was that, just like you did like it, is that too deep? The problem was that particular spring only had water in it about 3 or 4 months out of the year, and that happened to be the time of year they were drilling. So for most of the year, it was actually dry as a bone, didn't produce a single drop of water. Today it's capped off and no longer in use, but we've still learned some interesting things from that mistake. First thing we noticed is that after a little bit of time, that black cast iron pipe started getting covered in a layer of calcite. So it's slowly, in its own way, becoming part of this cave and part of our formations. Now up here at the top, we got some strings hanging down. Those are actually tree roots from a tree 90 feet above us. Wow. The cool part is along the backside, these little ridges right through here. These little baby cave. These are actually little cave curtains, just like the ones I showed you back at the last stop. Except they started growing the day that pipe punched through the ceiling 82 years ago. Today, the longest one is just a little over 3/4 of an inch long. So it's kind of hard to imagine. If we took 82. So there's 2 places on Earth where light doesn't exist. Not even a little bit. And that's at the very bottom of the ocean, at its deepest depths, or in a cave when you get into the dark zone like we are right now. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you what total darkness looks like. So if you could darken your phone screens down real quick, I'm going to kill the lights. Into the 1800s. Keep looking, and this is how we see the cave today. Makes a bit of a difference, doesn't it? So we're going to move on up to the next spot where we're going to be able to see down into that lower level of the cave.
Right there, look at my phone there, so you can see it there.
You can you point one more time?
Little bat.
Feeling like a old man, like, hey, these knees, baby, they ain't.
So that's Preston Cave, Papa?
As far in as we can go at some level. The extra then is about 160 feet back behind the screen into a clay wall.
the drainage point for a cave system. What I want to do today is give you a look at the whole drainage system, and it's going to be a good day for doing it because we have had a lot of rain the past couple days. Why the spring is so large. Water goes into the cave system through things like sinkholes and then moves through the cave and discharges here at the spring. The flow of the spring today is about 9,000 gallons a minute, and every bit of that goes through fantastic caverns. About 3/4 of the runoff water in the Ozarks moves into cave systems. We're a mile from the spring here at a vertical entrance into the fantastic system. This is one of the most open sinkholes in the whole fantastic cavern. Dissolved by water. This piece of limestone weighs about a pound. There is this much limestone dissolved in every 1,000 gallons of water discharging from the spring today. You can imagine the enormous volumes of water and long periods of time required to form the cave. Basically, a cave is a drained spring system. Since caves are part of spring systems, storms can flood them and make them dangerous. This isn't your normal Ozark float trip. The fish, the crayfish, and most of the other cave animals are tiny, white, and blind. Although they spend their entire lives in the cave, they depend on the surface for their food.
That's your side. Watch your head on this rock right here.
I don't know. It's charcoal, probably.
Shabby.
Oops, sorry about it.
You got that CDL.
Missouri was a border state. We had both Union and Confederate soldiers in the area. There was a lot of troop activity, battles, and movement going on. And when they weren't fighting, they were always looking for caves. There was something found in the soil that needed called potassium nitrate. And if they'd have found out John had a cave on his property, they could have confiscated the cave, his land, and even his house, and there wouldn't have been a single thing he could do to stop him. Then he came in, scooped up all the cave soil, put it in a big leaching bath like this one right here. They'd taken all that material and poured water over the top of it. And what would have came out the bottom would have been really nitrate rich, kind of a muddy slurry. They'd taken that muddy slurry over to a big kettle like this one right here, poured it right in, just like that. Now all they had to do is get a fire underneath it. Starting a fire was easy enough in the 1800s. You just walk over here to this post and flip this switch. Pretty smart. Once they got that fire going, they boil all the water off and cook it all down. And what would be left inside of that pot would be like a crystallized residue. Well, they'd scrape it all out, grind it up real fine, mix in a little bit of potash, a little bit of sulfur. Now you got gunpowder. Gunpowder was in pretty high demand, but also very short supply. Turns out John had heard about them confiscating caves throughout the country. That's why he hid the cave for so many years. He was thinking at the time he was protecting his property and his livelihood. He didn't realize he'd be protecting this cave for so many generations to come, for people to enjoy like we are today. Because if they'd have mined this cave for potassium nitrate, the chances are pretty good it would have been destroyed in the process. Wouldn't look as good as it does today. Move on to the 1920s, we had something called prohibition in this country, where they outlawed the manufacture, sale, and possession of alcoholic beverages throughout the nation. Now, a lot of people didn't like that law, so they opened up illegal nightclubs called speakeasies. We actually had one down here in the cave, right where we're at right now. Gambling tables, dance floor, bar, all that was down here. Now, they had a bit of a party down here for about 3 years. The sheriff just kind of ignored the whole thing and turned a blind eye to it, until a couple of moonshiners got into an argument. There was a shooting. And at that point, the sheriff kind of had to step in and shut it all down. In the 1960s, this stage I'm standing on was built, and we had a live music show down here called Farmer-Ama. Today, those folks are known as the Presley Country Music Jubilee down in Branson. But they got their start right here on this stage in Fantastic Caverns. Now they'd actually bring in big names of the day sometimes, like Buck Owens or Ray Price, and they'd record all those shows and broadcast them weekly over the radio nationwide. And driver's side right through here, very, very low. Watch your head, driver's side.
Oh, now I get it.
You're just trying to see if you don't have to duck, maybe. I should keep the camera on you then. Whack! Oh, wow, sir.
Lights out right there.
Yeah, we had lots of this. There's probably a cave under our old farm too. Who knows?
So we call this section the cave breakdown. That's what it's called when the ceiling collapses in the cave. It's called breakdown. We've had 3 collapses in this section that we know of. First collapse happened right through here. Second collapse is right about here. Last collapse is right up here. Looks like that big shoe print up on the ceiling. Now a lot of people think that this happened during the New Madrid earthquake, which was one of the most violent and intense earthquakes ever to hit this country. It was in the early 1800s, about 200 miles or so southeast of here near the Boot Heel in Missouri. But it was so violent, it actually rang church bells as far away as Boston, Massachusetts. It was physically felt at the White House in Washington, D.C., and it caused the Mississippi River to flow backwards for a couple days. It's a big earthquake, so it's easy to understand why people think something like that would cause the ceiling in here to fall. But I can tell you that's not the case. Now, I'm not a geologist, but I did graduate in the top 10% of the lower 1/3 of my class back in high school. It's impressive, right? I know the average growth rate of formations in this cave is about 1 cubic inch over every 100 years. That earthquake was a little over 200 years ago, which would be about 2 cubic inches worth of growth. But when you look at this debris pile, you see all these big formations on top of all the debris. Big stalactites hanging down from the ceiling. Well, that's way more than 2 cubic inches worth of growth. So what actually caused this to collapse is back when this was still a flowing river, this whole cave would flood. And when it would flood, limestone's very porous. It would actually absorb that water like a sponge. Over time, water would dissolve the limestone, creating weak spots in the ceiling, causing it to collapse under its own weight. Now the good news is we don't have water moving through here like that anymore. So what caused it to collapse is no longer an issue. But also each time it broke off, it got a little bit smaller. It collapsed itself to what we call the point of stability, to where it created a natural dome, which is one of the most stable structures known to man. So for that reason alone, we know it's never going to fall again. But
I only came in the dark. I'm already leaving.
so I'm going to shut the lights off real quick, and I'm going to give you a little demonstration here. So when the girls came through here, they would have used something a lot like this. This is called a candle lantern. It's quite literally just a candle and an old coffee can with a piece of wire for a handle. Now you may not realize this, but you're actually looking at one of the very first known examples of an incandescent light. It's in the can. It gets even better though, because if you put it on the floor, now it's a fluorescent light.
Right? Like they would be just, you know, they actually didn't know what they were missing really.
Yeah, they couldn't even see this. Amazing.
So the biggest formations we have in the entire cave system are in this section right here. We're about 30 feet from the surface, so the water gets down here a lot easier and faster than anywhere else in the cave, which causes the formations to grow a lot bigger and faster than anywhere else.
Wait, where?
I got it on camera.
Okay, she doesn't put it on this. It's
You got one last low spot here. If you exit, watch your heads as we pass through here.
Watch over that time.
Watch your heads one last time.
They gotta get low. Yeah. Trying to get low. We free. That's crazy.
Now that hole's a lot bigger now than it used to be. Just think about it. Before you cleared all the material out of here, this is all just part of the hillside, and that hole probably started right about there. So they'd had to crawl all that way back in there on their hands and knees and belly until they got in there about 20 feet where they could stand up. That's how the girls got in, that's how the dog got in. Now the sad thing is we have no idea what those girls looked like. There were no selfie cameras in the 1800s. We have no pictures of them. But you know, luckily enough, I just happen to have pictures of our latest explorers right here. These are actually our gift to you. This is our way of saying thank you for coming to see us. You get one picture per ticket packet. So hold those tickets up in the air one more time. I'm going to come by and give you all 3 pictures.
That was really cool. That's got to be the best cave I've been into yet. Very neat. I think this may be part of it, but no, I don't know for sure. Oh yeah, see, that's where we were in today. So that building's where we're at now. We would have went in the entrance. Down here, we turned around this guy. Or did we go farther? No, we went farther. We went all the way through here, over to there. We're gonna watch the theater, but the caves do go farther, all the way down. And then we turned around and went back out again. So, pretty neat. And piles of different types of stones and rocks here. That's neat, eh? Make sure you put them all back. This here is what they call fool's gold. Oh, it looks like it has a better name, pyrite. Anyway, a lot of people were confused into thinking that was real. Start gold rushes. All sorts of stuff. Very cool. I thoroughly enjoyed it. Did you guys have fun?
Oh, yeah, that was so
Well worth it?
definitely.
Alright, if you're in this
The
area,
tour
go
guide
check it
was
out.
topped it up.
Yeah, I think he gets paid a little extra for all his
Oh, he's
humor.
amazing. Yeah.
Yeah. We're back in the motorhome, and boy, does that ever driving good. These guys know their stuff. I am just, I'm impressed. You know, we left New Mexico, and the whole time I just felt something was not right. I was told, just keep going, it'll be all right, it'll be all right. But it had a shake, it had a bunch of stuff that just wasn't right. Something was wrong with that thing, and I knew it. And, you know, I thought, oh, maybe it's a tranny shake. So I was told too, well, your tranny's getting old, it's probably going. But yeah, but when I showed up, I did not have that shake. Now I do, and it's weird. And anyway, got my motorhome back now. There's no shake. It's gone. It was all in the engine the whole time. It was just running like crap. The distributor itself was off. The that one rod was too short, so that one cylinder wasn't running right. This was causing it to run too rich in one bank, too lean in the other. It was just causing a whole host of issues. It is motoring now. I am cruising 70 mile an hour down the road. Feels so smooth. No shake. Other than like the road shake, obviously, you know, like big old tires on here and there's a bit of bumps in the road. But other than that, no, it is just purring like a kitten here. This is how I hoped it was going to run when I left New Mexico. So very, very thankful to all the mechanics of the dry fork diesel. It's yeah, it's awesome. But tomorrow we're going to go back there. They still didn't have those plug wires. Sometime tomorrow they're supposed to show up. I'll show up there again and personally thank them. That makes me feel so much better. We're really concerned about dumping the extra money in, another $2,600. We want to be good stewards of God's blessings, what He's given us, and to just keep throwing money at something and then, you know, not coming out with a good product seems like it's not really a good use of our money. And maybe God was trying to tell us something. But anyway, I'm really glad, very thankful. In case you haven't heard, I'm happy. We found this really cool buffet spot. We thought it was just like a restaurant, but it turns out it's all buffet. So this is our second time here. Obviously you can pick whatever you want. This boy's going for all meat, plus a slice of pizza. This is mine, good balance of food. Almost even got a salad, look at that. And they're smart here, they give you unlimited lemonade. Keep bringing more and more and more and more lemonade until you're full of lemonade and you don't eat any more food. Lemonade's cheap, food is not. A nice variety of stuff. Loads and loads of food. There's two people I know right there. Bye.
This ain't where I belong. Hey, look at me, man, what I've become. I've been running east, looking for a sunset, digging deep since '99. What I thought was gone was sitting in my pocket in plain sight all along. I think it's time for me to go.